Hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Absolute Batman number 8. This is a new book from DC Comics from the Absolute line. One of my favorite ongoings for the Absolute line. This is written by Scott Snyder with art by Marcos Martin. Munsa Vicente on colors letters by Clem Cowles. And in this issue, Gotham is in the grasp of Mr. Freeze. Batman is in the fight of his life against his icy new threat, but in the end, what terrifying truth will be unearthed about Arkham and the Joker? That's right, this issue not only continues the story with Mr. Freeze, but also sets up some really interesting clues as to what will happen in the future. Maybe put some answers out there. Can Batman escape from the chilly grasp of Mr. Freeze? So I think this is an interesting pivot for the story, right? I feel like the first arc of this book was very grounded. It felt like, even though it was Black Mask and his thousands of goons wearing the animal heads, like this still all felt there was no metahumans, there was no powers, so we didn't really know what this world was gonna really look like. But now we know that Scott Snyder and the team are not afraid to go in a very weird tangential direction. I think this take on Mr. Freeze, it feels fresh, feels new, it's interesting. Very as far as aesthetically, it's very disconcerting. He's got a very interesting, like almost thin men type of look. I mean, you've seen the cover, you've seen what he can do, and just exploring those abilities, those powers, and then putting Bruce, kind of dropping him in the middle. Now, Bruce is also dealing with a little bit of the fallout from the first arc with his friend, with his group friend, who they all now know that he is the Batman and he's doing all this alone. And then some of those things may finally come home, to hurt him, or to it may be something that his friends might have to suffer some of the consequences. This is pretty interesting. I'm very interested in the mystery behind Arkham as well. And then, of course, we keep getting teases of Joker, which is very different from any Joker that you might have seen before. Um, Very little Batman in this particular issue, and I'm talking about like full on Batman. Although, of course, you can never go a full issue without seeing the Cape Crusader here in this absolute world. Marcus Martin does some really interesting things when it comes to displaying the powers, uh, getting into Bruce's psyche, and just exploring the trauma that he's kind of suffering all throughout this. As he thinks back, as he freezes in this like bath of ice that he's been set up with, but Batman's never without a plan. So yeah, it's a good one. I feel like there's a lot of places for the story to go from here. And even though we are at an unexpected turn for me, I'm still very on board with the story. I would like to see also Nick Dragotta come back, but I know these things take time. So I appreciate that the editorial team is finding artists that have a similar vibe when it comes to Dragotta's art, where it's very stylized, very loose. Um, they use a lot of large onomatopoeia as well in the background of the scenes, just to make the paneling work very distinctly. But also, it's different enough that it keeps you hooked, and it changes tonally with the story. So, yeah, I think this is just a very well put together book. I feel like the entry bar now is going to be like, are you enjoying the pivot of the story? Are you enjoying the way that this is very um, going in a very different direction from what we kind of saw in the first arc? And then also, are you going to be patient enough to keep up with all these mysteries? That's really what I feel is going to be the litmus test for people continuing to read this book. But I'm fully on board. I'm all in pretty much for every absolute book. But man, oh man, this one continues to surprise me at every turn. And then also continues to show me some of the weirdest, sometimes like really gnarly stuff as well. So, all right. Well, if you have read this book, hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Supergirl number 1. This is a new book from DC Comics, kicking off the summer of Superman with some of these new series. This is written and with art by Sophie Campbell, with colors by Tamara Van Vellen, letters by Becca Carey. We have plenty of really cool variant covers because when Supergirl comes out with a new series, DC is definitely going to take the opportunity to make a lot of really cool looking variants. So let's talk about this book. The Maiden of Might returns in a new series written and illustrated by Sophie Campbell. Kara Sorrell, a key member of the superfamily in Metropolis, but what happens when she strikes out on her own? Follow Kara as she returns to her roots in Midvale, home of Supergirl. But how could this be? Our hero has not been back in years, and the protector of that town has been saving the day for weeks. Can Supergirl stop the imposter before they steal her fresh start in life? This is a new costume. We got a new outfit. We got a new mythology, and also revisiting a little bit of the old school stuff for Kara, including the way that she looked as Kara Danvers, right? Which is really interesting. I'm not somebody who is very well versed in Supergirl, other than some of the more recent stuff. So this is kind of cool to go back and revisit, like, you know, her origins, her struggles, kind of growing up in Midvale. For some reason, whenever I've read a Supergirl book, she's always very close to the Kents as opposed to, her the Danvers. So that was kind of cool to explore in this book. I will say Sophie Campbell draws some really cool characters, some really quirky stuff as well. It's a very nice, fun mix of like bombastic comic book storytelling, but also like we're getting down to the root of a lot of these issues, right? I think she's always had a tough time because she knew her home, right? She wasn't a baby. She knew her home before it was destroyed. She had to leave everyone behind, and the one mission that she had in life, she kind of failed at right from the beginning, because her cousin was all grown up by the time she got to Earth. So now I feel like this book tackles a lot, both figuratively and literally, imposter syndrome. And I feel like Kara's always kind of suffered from that affliction, even though as the reader, I think we all love the character very much. Yeah, it's a very, very cool way to kick off a new series with some, like I said, you'll see the villain from the first few pages. And it's just like something that kind of came out of nowhere, kind of came out of left field for me. But it's really, really fun. We also get to see like how Kara tries to find ways to still be connected to her roots from Krypton, which involves helping out the people that in Kandor who are stuck in the little bottle in the fortress, right? I feel like we're gonna come back to that, but this whole first issue took a really cool turn once we got back to Midvale, where we revisit, like I said, some mythology. We get to see the Danvers, we get to see Kara. Just doing a lot of things that if you've been a long time Supergirl reader, you'll probably be very rewarded. And as somebody that's a little bit more fresh and new to the character, just like, oh, this is cool. Like, I didn't realize this is how she did X, Y, and Z thing or whatever. So yeah, really cool stuff. And of course, the mystery that's revealed all the way at the end. It's just a lot of fun. I really enjoyed reading this issue, and I can't wait to see where we go from here. So yeah, Sophie Campbell and the team really knocked it out of the park for this number one. And I think that this book will find its audience. It's very different from the last time we saw Supergirl, right? In Tom King's and Bill Kazevli's story, Woman of Tomorrow. But I feel like Supergirl is such a versatile character. But at the core, the themes and her attitude and her willingness to do certain things kind of remain very similar in both books. And I appreciate that the different creators find different ways to bring those things into the light, even though if it's through a different lens. So recommend you check out also Woman of Tomorrow if you haven't read it. But man, oh man, what a great time to jump into a new Supergirl series with this number one. So hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Gwenpool number one. This is a new book from Marvel Comics, written by Kevin Scott, with art by Stefano Nessi, Matt Miller on colors, letters by Clem Cowles. And before I get into this review, go listen to my friends over at the I Read Comic Books podcast. My buddy Mike and Brian got to talk to Kevin for a full episode about this book and about a whole lot of other really cool stuff. So let's get into it. I'll put the link for that in the description of this video. Wenpo is back and more dangerous than ever. Everyone's favorite reality twisters, life changing, becoming darker, grittier, and bringing her own brand of hyper violent justice to the battle strewn New York City. Who is this dark Wenpo, and what has she got to do with the spectacular Spider Man? Guest starring Fing Pang Foom and Jeff the Land Shark. And you know what? Kate Bishop is also in this issue. This one will shock you to your core. Yeah, this was a fantastic debut for Wenpo. Like, just really knocked it out of the park. We have the book begins with a story that feels very different and not familiar at all if you're a big Wenpo fan. But the book then it doesn't course correct. It just reveals its true intentions. Like, and it's something that is very cool. I think Kevin really understands the character of Wenpo and how the meta-ness of the character itself, how the popularity, the sarcasm, everything that makes Wenpo an interesting character, how it works, and it's brought into this book. But also, there's a really, really big reveal at the end of this issue uh, about who or about some of these things that have come into the picture. I don't want to spoil anything. I'd rather let you experience it on your own. But you have some really cool fights. You've never seen Wenpo this big. You've never seen Wenpo this bombastic. And it's just such a fun story. Now, Stefano Nessi, like, the work that is on these pages is just magnificent. The way that the tone can change and shift from dark and gritty to like this more lively and bubbly superhero comic. The design of the characters, the little bits of hyper violence sprinkled in all throughout. And then, of course, the way that, because it is a Wenpo book, you have to work on the paneling and explore and exploit some of those options. I think makes this a really, really fun story. So, yeah, if you want a full, more in-depth conversation about this book, like I mentioned, go check out my friends over at the I Read Comic Books podcast. But if you want to just dive into this book with no knowledge of anything else, go check it out at your shops right now. Of course, because this is a Wenpo book, Marvel is giving us as many covers as they can possibly print. So let me know which one you picked up down in the comments. And if you have read this book, let me know what you thought about it as well. But check out some of the Kevin Scott's work. Very prolific in the Star Wars books, especially the High Republic. So I'll be definitely checking in back on some of that stuff. But yeah, I don't know. This was a really great debut for a number one. So if hello everyone, Daniel here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Action Comics 1086. This is a new comic book from DC Comics. This is the can't miss finale of Superman Superstars, which is pretty much having different creators just take a shot at a really fun story. This is part 2 of the Solitude story, written by G. Willow Wilson, with art by Gavin Gaudry, colors by Trish Mulville, and letters by Dave Sharp. If you did not catch my review for issue 1086, go check it out. We have that on the channel, and I'll make sure to link it in the description of this. But yeah, Kilgore is back, and I don't know much about Kilgore, but this book really gives you pretty much everything you need to know to face that villain. In this issue, Arctic Attack, with Superman on the ropes, Kilgore continues his fight against humanity with the help of the animals of the snow desert. Could our hero's fortress hold the key to a victory? Find out in the thrilling finale of Superman Superstars. Yeah, I mean, this was a really fun book. It was just like a really cool side story, a cool side quest. I'm glad to have read this only because, well, I mean, one of the reasons because I didn't know anything about this Kilgore character, and it just sounds like a really interesting villain. A little bit of a combination between Brainiac and Metallo and Lex Luthor. Like, feels like a lot of Superman's villains into a blender. And then also we have like uh, different polar animals like being controlled to attack Superman, which is, Superman fighting orcas and polar bears and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. Also, Gavin Gaudry and the team gave Superman this really cool Arctic outfit, which is great. And there's a scene where Superman's kind of like he's gonna fight, and he's just kind of stretching and getting ready for it. And I don't know, that just really caught me off guard because I you never kind of see Superman getting ready for a fight, right? Normally, by the time we catch up to him, he's already like fist deep into a fight. But this was a really just I don't know, felt new, felt fresh. This was interesting. I would love to see what the script called for in that, because it's just a really fun panel. I'll have some of the preview art in here. So yeah, I think I like the way Gavin Gaudry draws Superman, his face, how he differentiates him from Clark. That's all very cool. And of course, the design of Kilgore. I mean, he's just like this gigantic robot with like dreadlocks and mind control and spikes coming out of everywhere. I don't know. I feel like, yeah, G. Willow Wilson just picked a really cool, kind of fun story that can be told in two parts, and put Superman in a very different remote location. So it's just kind of the perfect Superman two shot, right? Like a great punch combo with these two, and just a quick story that you can enjoy and have a good time with. I also love the lettering on this book because Kilgore's dialogue, it's very mechanical. Like it feels very different. Like it's got all these little spikes coming out of the edge too. So yeah, I don't know. This is just a really fun, well put together book. Like it's not something that I would move up to like my top Superman stories, but I am very glad that I read it, and I'm very interested in like maybe seeing some more of some of the stuff. Like it's just really fun. And I should know. I mean, Willow Wilson's been kind of killing it over in the Poison Ivy book, and like I said, Gavin Gaudry just does such a fantastic job with the art. So if you want a really nice, fun, concise Superman story before you dive into all this cool Summer of Superman stuff, or before you go check out the movie, yeah, just go check out Action Comics 1085, 1086, the Solitude story, two-parter, great stuff, and really enjoyed it. So if you read this book and you read this story, let me know what you thought about this issue or both of them down in the comments. Let me know what other little Superman stories you've read like this, where it's not a gigantic event, maybe it's just a really fun Superman issue. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Exquisite Corpses #1. This is a new book from Image Comics, written by James Tynion IV with art by Michael Walsh, colors by Jordie Bellaire, letters by Becca Carey. There's a lot of really cool covers out there. I can't wait to get to the shop and actually read this. I mean, actually buy the physical copy of it. Thanks to Image for sending us a preview to review. This is labeled as Season 1, Issue 1, which now that I've read this story and now that I know what's going on in this book, makes me pretty excited to figure out like what kind of story they're telling. The world that has been set up here could lead to just down endless paths. Like I think that Tynion's been really good about making sure that whenever there's a new book like Something's Killing the Children or anything like that, if there are more stories to be told within that world, they will happen, right? And then we have all the stories that are a spin-off of the Something's Killing the Children universe. We have the true weird stuff that Tynion's doing. I could do a full month and just talk about James Tynion books. So let's talk about this book though, Exquisite Corpses. Oversized 64 pages of comic for $5. I mean, not only is this book fantastic, but that's just a great deal in comics too. Every 5 years on Halloween, the wealthiest families in America play a game. 12 of the deadliest people in the world are dropped into a small town with just one goal. Last killer standing wins. For the citizens of Oak Valley, Maine, this year's unlucky arena, the goal is much simpler. They just have to survive the night. Experience comics like a comics event like no other from the minds of James Tynion and Michael Walsh as they lead a group of the most exciting voices in the industry over 13 blood-soaked chapters. These creators will collaborate and compete to determine who wins and who dies. and the games begin in this triple size debut. So yeah, this is definitely, like I said, oversized book because you really need this much. Now, I don't know exactly what the competition to see who wins and who dies, what that exactly entails. Um, but I, like on top of all this really cool stuff, this is already a great book. I love the premise, right? It's like this very weird psychological game. You have these powerful families bringing all this chaos to an unsuspecting town, to unsuspecting people. Like who's involved, who's in the know, all those things. On top of that, you have Michael Walsh's art and Jordi Belair's colors, which just fill out this world. The character designs are bonkers. When you start, we meet all the assassins in this issue, and we kind of go in through. They have very cool designs. They're very stylized. You'll see one of them at least in the preview, as we you kind of see through the video. But man, oh man, I feel like this is fun because we're gonna get to pick our favorite assassins. You're gonna kind of follow these stories. You can probably even get a little bit more background, I assume, because 13 issues, I don't think it's just going to be all kill, right? They're going to have to build this world. They're going to have to make us care about these characters, give us some motivations. Not all of them need motivations. We learn very quickly that sometimes some of these are deranged people that are looking to kill or an excuse to kill. And this is the perfect place to do it. So I had a lot of fun reading this. Once I started reading this, I just couldn't stop. And I was very upset that I do not have the next chapter, but luckily we have a triple size debut. Like I mentioned, 64 pages of comics. What a great way to begin this story. So, hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Huck Big Bad World #1. That's right, Huck is back. Um, I I mean, this book came out a long time ago, and I believe the first time it came out under the Image imprint. But this is now under Dark Horse because that's where Mark Miller and Miller World books are being printed at the time. This is written by Mark Miller with art by Raphael Albuquerque, colors by Dave McKeague, and letters by Clem Robbins. So yeah, I mean, Huck is a character that both Miller and Albuquerque created a long, long time ago. And I had heard rumblings of a new sequel, and now here we are. Here we are to expand this world, to introduce more characters, to introduce more issues, but also just to follow this big galoot that only wants to help people. And his name is Huck. So, in this book, after being exposed as a superpowered person and hunting down the doctor who gave him and his mother powers, it would seem like Huck could finally get back to the simple life he'd come to love, making folks in his small town feel safe and cared for by doing one good deed a day and being the real change anyone would want to see in the world. But then a mysterious man tells him he and his mothers aren't the only super people out there in the world. Many are hiding just like them. I mean, listen, I already love the premise of like, Huck just wants to do one good deed a day and help the people out. And it's a very heartwarming story. And Huck is just a very likable character from the get go. Like, once you're introduced to him, you're gonna love him. But now we get to learn a little bit more about maybe his origin or his mom's origin and how their powers kind of came to be, how these other powered individuals might have come to be. So it's really really fun to kind of dig into all these origins, all these issues. Raphael Albuquerque's art is fantastic. I feel like Albuquerque and McKeague have a really good grasp of the tone that they want to show in every different page, because the colors change very much, and as we are seeing here, and then also Albuquerque with the facial expressions. There are some sad moments in this first issue. There are some surprises in this first issue. But yeah, overall, it's just a very cool comic, especially if you're a fan of the original stuff already. Now, granted, I don't think you need to read the original series in order to catch up on this, but I would definitely recommend it because you get to learn a little bit more about Hug's motivations and his friends and his world and everything that's going on. But this book really lays it all out for you. And we get to see, like I said, more people. We get to see more story about his mom. And then we get to see how others may have been affected by these superpowered people. and why they might be looking for them. So this is a lot of fun, and it's really cool. It's like I said, it's got a little bit of heartbreak. There's a lot happening in this book, but I really love it. It's just it's one of those series that I don't recommend enough because I just forget how much fun I had with it until I go back and revisit it, and then seeing the world of Huck being brought back, it's really great. So had a lot of fun with that. Make sure to pick this up. Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for The Amazing Spider-Man #3. This right here is the Rose Besh cover. I believe that's how you say the artist's name. This is a really fun book. So let's talk about it. It does get a little weird in this issue. I had been enjoying the story so far, but we are at a point where I'm not sure exactly what's going on. So this is written by Joe Kelly with art by Pepe Larraz, Marte Gracia on colors, letters by Joe Caramagna. In this issue, Pumpkin Bomb Problems. Past and present collide, sending Spider-Man spinning out of control. Just when an old foe obsessed with him gets the sword stabbing jump on Peter as his main squeeze, Shay Markin. Can the last remaining ally still in Spider-Man's corner, the Green Goblin, not Norman Osborn, cure Peter before his life implodes? Yeah, this is a Peter's been under the gun of this poison, right? That it was revealed in the last episode who the villain was, and you'll see it throughout the art. I don't know much about this character of Itsy Bitsy other than it's some kind of combination of Deadpool and Peter Parker DNA that somebody made in the run a long time ago. So yeah, they're back. We know the Hobgoblin is behind all this, and we know that they've been putting Spider-Man through the ringer for all this. But man, this story, there's a lot of twists and turns. And as I was reading it, I was like, what in the world is happening? I will say, as much as I'm enjoying the art, the story does get a little bit out of hand because there's a lot of weird things happening. Motivations are weird. I don't really know much about this character. But now that the Hobgoblin's kind of entering the picture, I'm a little bit more excited that maybe we'll finally get to the crux of this. We'll know why this, why it's a Bitsy or the Hobgoblin or both, why they're trying to kill the Rhino, and also what Spider-Man is going to do to overcome this poison, right? This is really interesting look at how Peter's misremembering some stuff because of this poison and just kind of re-examining some of the earliest aspects of his life. And Pepe Larraz does that very well, I think. Including with the art team with Gracia as well on the coloring. Like it's really vivid when it needs to be, and then it gets a little dark in some places. And then Peter, like I said, those flashbacks are in grayscale, and it just looks really cool. And I really am enjoying like the crazy nature of the story, even if the story itself is getting a little out of control. So, but there's just some stuff that Pepe Larraz is doing that I just want to pull those panels out of the pages and just look at them because they're so cool. Like Larraz's artwork is so dynamic. Yeah, I and then the way that he designs the Hobgoblin, my goodness, what a really cool reveal all the way at the end of the book. So yeah, this one was enjoyable. It was not at the top of my pile, which is why the review's a little bit later than it normally would be. But there was a lot of really good comic books last week. So, but if you Hello everyone, Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Invincible Universe. Battle Beast #1. These are all the covers that I picked up, including this blind bag. If you want to see what's in the blind bag and you want to see all the rest of the covers, there's going to be another video on the channel, so stay tuned for that. This is just a review for the comic itself. Now, one thing, well, going into this, before I get into the creative team, I didn't realize this was going to be an ongoing series or like a mini series, max series, whatever you want to call it. There's more than one issue. I thought this was going to be like an oversized one shot because this is supposed to cover the gaps from like issue 13 to 55 of the comic, like from the first time we meet Battle Beast to when we see him back again in the comic. Now I haven't read the comic, but I am caught up with the show, and we've also seen that. So I want to know what happens in between those episodes, right? So this is written by Robert Kirkman, of course, with art by Ryan Ottley, colors by Annalisa Leone, letters by Rose Wooten. In this issue, the best new, not quite a superhero series in the universe. Cursed with an unquenchable thirst for violence, Battle Beast searches the universe for one warrior mightier than him, and a glorious death his only reward. But even in a universe with mighty Viltrumites like Invincible and Omni-Man, it seems that no one may be able to stop the galaxy's deadliest warrior unless he does the unthinkable. Superstars Robert Kirkman and Ryan Otley present the most demanded Invincible story of all time. I didn't realize that was, I mean, maybe, yeah, I could see why. He's a cool character. The secret story of Battle Beast that's perfect for any longtime fan, no spoilers, and new readers alike. Yeah, so, I mean, it'll be a little bit of spoilers, I guess, for one thing that happens in early on in the series, like the first time we meet Battle Beast, because we do get that context in the book. But you know what I love about this book so much? And I'm going to tell you the story, before I get into even all that, this book is violent as hell. I was going to say the F word, then I chose against it because I do want to monetize this video. Um, yeah, I mean, that's what I'm here for. I'm here to see Ryan Otley draw really cool things in a super violent way. I want to see all the colors of blood that the galaxy has to offer. Blue blood, green blood, red blood, like whatever you got, give it to me. And then of course, Battle Beast is just it's such an over the top premise for a character, right? Somebody that's just seeking out death, vengeance, a strong opponent, like that. Just it reminds me a lot of One Punch Man, in a certain light, right? Obviously, One Punch Man, he's just super strong and he can be beat. He's not looking for death, perhaps, but he is looking for an opponent to match his power against. But, anyways, back to Battle Beast. This is great. Like I said, even if the story wasn't good, I was gonna enjoy it because of Oddly's art. But the story is actually pretty entertaining. We get to see a little bit of the origin of Battle Beast. We get to see him interact, which we don't get that a lot, right? Most of the time, from what I've seen in the show, especially, he's just yelling about killing people. But in this one, we get a little bit more. There's a little bit more exposition to his character, a little bit of exposition as to who he is and his motivations. And then, like I said, just relentless violence all throughout the book, and that's very exciting. I like these kind of books because you could just really jump in and have a good time. Uh, Ryan Notley's art is masterful. Like there is really no one that does blood splatter quite like he does. But we also get maybe an introduction to some new challenges that Battle Beast may have to overcome, including maybe trying not to kill someone for a reason or two. Yeah, it's really really fun. I'm very excited for this. I'm very excited to find out that there's more than one issues. However long this series is going to be. So that's really really cool. Also, when you get to the back of the book, there's an email for invincible@skybound.com. Send them something if you want to see your letters printed. Like I always have such a great time when I see one of my emails printed on the comics. Like that's been just such a fun thing to experience. So yeah, do it. If you like a book, let the creators know how much you like a book. So there you have it, and stay tuned and come back. You'll see it in a couple days. Let's check out what's in this blind bag, and if I find more in my other shops, I'll definitely get some more. If you read Battle Beast, let me know which cover you picked up. If you got a blind bag, let me know what you got in there. There's some really cool ratio variants. And as always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for Spider-Verse versus the Venomverse #1. This is a new book from Marvel Comics, and it is insane bananas. Before I get into the creative team, I'm always a little hesitant going into these books because I haven't kept up with all the Spider-Verse shenanigans or the Venomverse, although I think I've read a lot more of the Venomverse than the Spider-Verse. But let's talk about the creative team now. This is written by Matt Groom and Kyle Higgins, who you may know from either Power Rangers or over at Image with the Radiant Black universe, with art by Luciano Vecchio and Marte Gracia. Sorry, Luciano Vecchio. Colors by Rachel Rosenberg. Letters by Travis Lanham. And the cover is by Luciano Vecchio and Marte Gracia, who did the colors on the cover only, not the interiors. The interiors were by Rosenberg. Just want to make sure that's clear. This book is crazy, so let's talk about it. Spiders versus symbiotes. The Arachnid War is here, with the fates of the Spider Verse and Venomverse hanging in the balance, which I didn't really know why until I got into this book. I read some of the one shots leading up to this, but that was not enough to tell me what's going on. But yeah, it is hanging in the balance. These eight-legged warriors will stop at nothing from protecting their people or die trying. Will Spider-Man and friends succeed in protecting the web heart, or will Venom and his symbiotic comrades prove that the hive mind fights for its survival? Meet the newest web head, Spider Prowler, as well as the mysterious symbiote Yalio, as this savage battle risk their extinction. That also is very interesting because there's a symbiote in here that we know very little about. They were very coy about how they played all this, including the introduction of this other Miles Morales that is the Spider Prowler. Uh, Different to the one from the film, I believe. It's from a different universe. But yeah, look, I'm gonna say this very straight, very forward. This book is just throwing a bunch of your spider toys and banging them against each other, but that's a good time. Like I think Matt Grome and Kyle Higgins, they know how to do that pretty well. They're very used to dealing with a lot of characters at the same time. Like I said, coming from books like Power Rangers and Radiant Black, like they know how to, and they can capture these voices. They can give you interesting new characters. Yeah, it's just really really fun stuff. I love a good battle royale, but of course there's gonna be more to this. The whole hive mind, hive mind, the web heart. I don't know what those concepts are, but they really try to give this to you here. There's a lot of parallels. I feel like Kyle Higgins wrote maybe either the spiders or the venoms, and then Matt Grom wrote the other guys, which is really fun. I think it's just or even as a writing exercise, I think that really works. So I like to think that's how they kind of approach the book, to really kind of split up the duties of writing these characters. And the rosters are really cool. So let me give you a breakdown. Of course, we have the main Spider-Man, Peter Parker, the Spider Prowler that was introduced, Miles Morales from Earth 2501. We have Recluse, Zion Riley from Earth 6201, Spider Ham, of course, Peter Parker from Earth 8311, and Weapon 8, the Cyclops looking Spider Man that we met a little while ago, Peter Parker from Earth 72. Then the Venom team is very interesting because I'm not familiar with a lot of these guys. We have Venom, Eddie Brock from Earth 2250. So I'm not even from the main Earth. This not, not from, this is not the Eddie Brock from Spider-Man's world. We have Yalio, who we don't know much about, the Viking Venom, who is Anders Adversen from Earth 113, the Spider Clan Venom, who is from Earth 7122, and Agent Venom, Anna Weaving from Earth 1051, who is also apparently Dylan's mom. I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot going on here. This book definitely throws out a lot at you. And I think that is the reason why I'm just gonna wait till it's all done and get all in at once, because otherwise I'm not gonna be able to keep up. That would, if you were to put me in a corner and ask me what the one downside of the book is, to me it's that there's a lot happening here that if I'm gonna read this monthly, I'm not gonna be able to keep up. But it is a fun romp. It's bombastic. It's in your face. The art is really cool, and I think that because we have Luciano Vecchio, who draws these characters very in a very fun way, very dynamic art. The fights. This is what you need. This is the type of artist you need for a story like this that is just out of this world. So yeah, I don't know that this book's for everyone, but I found it very entertaining, and I'm definitely gonna keep reading it. So yeah, make sure to pick up Spider-Verse versus Venomverse. Also, there's gonna be so many covers for this. You're gonna probably break the bank. I only bought the main cover for now, but I still need to go to one of my other shops for this week to pick up some of my other books. So we'll see. We'll see. Stay tuned. Maybe on the live I'll show you everything I picked up. But if Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for One World Under Doom #4. This is the big event that Marvel is going through right now. This is written by Ryan North with art, beautiful, beautiful art by RB Silva, David Curiel on colors, with some of the brightest colors you've ever seen. They just jump out of the page. And Travis Lanham on letters, just making sure that we are able to very, very much read this book with all the stuff that's going on the pages. I think Travis Lanham definitely has a lot of a high bar, just because any misstep would make this book unreadable when it comes to like just not being able to see where the bubbles are, and it just lettering is very much underappreciated. So I want to call it out before I start the review, because this is, yeah, I mean, Lanham does such a good job making sure that to not cover up like the really cool parts of the art, but still showing us everything that we need to know. Anyways, in this issue, sensing vulnerability, Dormammu has attacked Earth, and only Doom stands in his way. Dormammu has banished all other heroes to a pocket dimension, leaving Doom to stand alone against the Dark Lord of Chaos. But on the other hand, Doom has never needed allies in order to ensure that his will be done. It is the ultimate showdown between two titans with an ending you won't see coming. As Earth hangs in the balance, it all comes down to Doom versus Dormammu. And as Doom says in this issue, Dormammu, I have not come to bargain, which is a really fun callback to the Doctor Strange movie. Um, this is so much fun. This event is just out of this world, bananas, bonkers, but I love it. Uh, in one hand, because the story is just really cool, really fun. Doom is one of my favorite characters, and Ryan North just really, really understands what makes the character appealing. Like, he's so cocky and prideful, and just but also relentless when it comes to achieving what he's trying to do. On the other hand, you put him up against this immovable object that is Dormammu, and I've never really seen Dormammu like on a fight, and that was really cool to see in this issue. And then, of course, like I said, all this brought to life by the incredible work of RB Silva, and the colors too. There are colors in here that I can't even imagine how they like. I don't know how you think of this color scheme or this palette in your head. Like, there's just something that the colorists have in their talent is just so cool. And then seeing them team up with an artist like RB, it's very, very cool. Some really cool panels, like I mentioned, seeing Dormammu fight, and then of course we have not only a really cool fight, because they kind of go back and forth. This is just a knockout for the ages. I don't know if these two have ever encountered a fight between themselves, but yeah, it's really well done. The pacing's really cool, and then of course it all leads down to this like really cool reveal in the last page of how this fight is gonna go. So don't miss out. This is one of my favorite events that Marvel has done in a long time. They've really kind of been nailing it when it comes to the events. Not only the events itself, but to make sure that it's not disruptive towards the rest of the Marvel universe. Yeah, it's just incredible stuff, and I can't wait to see what happens next, because the way this leaves off is just super fun. So, if you have checked this out, let me know what you thought about it down in the comments. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. Stay tuned. We have more comic reviews, trailer reactions, TV recaps, all that fun stuff here in the channels. And as always, thank you, Doom.